excited about the 14 players who signed with us today, and to join the 12 players who are already early enrolled here. I think this class is a class that we're very pleased with and proud of. This day is accumulation of a lot of hard work by a lot of people. It starts out, I think, with the entire team of people that we have here at Alabama, but most specifically, our coaching staff. I think that this day is an accumulation of all the way back, in some cases, as far as 2 or 3 years, where you evaluate guys and start to develop relationships with them. And our coaching staff did a phenomenal job in evaluation, in developing relationships, and working hard to attract some of these guys here. And the team of people that we have here at the university who help us recruit, I think we can not give enough thanks for, and let them know how much we appreciate what they do. Everybody from Dr. Bell, Bill Battle, speak to these guys when they come in on the weekends. We have great response in the university community from our professors and people who come out on Saturdays at lunch and take these guys to their colleges. John Deaver and his staff and academic support do a phenomenal job of helping our players create value by graduating for themselves in the future. And the academic support program that we have, I think, is very important to a lot of these young people. So a lot of people do a lot of hard work. It starts with our coaching staff and the people here that organize our recruiting, and everybody in this athletic department who works hard to make this happen. We obviously try to identify needs that we have each year, and I think that in this class we sort of hit every spot but one. We didn't really, we wanted to recruit at least one corner, maybe two. It just worked out that it didn't happen that way for us, but we feel like we got a couple really good safeties. We got 4 really good linebackers. We got 3 good down guys on defense. Some offensive linemen, 4 that are good. Some really good skilled wide receivers. A couple tight ends. A couple good running backs. A couple good quarterbacks. A couple good specialists. So there's a lot of good players that are really good people. That are exactly the kind of young men that we'd like to attract to the University of Alabama and to our program. I know that everybody likes to go out there and look at all these rankings and ratings and all that, but it's just like I tell players in the draft. It's not where you get drafted, it's what you do with your career and how you develop your career. Well, this is not about how you got rated coming out of high school. This is about being committed to doing all the things that we're going to do here to try to help you be successful as a person, as a student, and as a player. And how you develop in all those areas is certainly going to go a long way to determining what kind of career you have, how much success you have, and how you develop as a player. So, recruiting, personnel evaluation is not an exact science. Everyone that stands up here today, if you see a coach that stands up here today and says he had a bad recruiting day, let me know. Everybody's going to say they had a good day and things went well and they got what they needed. You never have a bad recruiting class and you never have a bad spring practice. So I think that everybody's can make their own judgments, but our focus is going to be on what can we do to help these guys be successful as people, as students, and as players, and help them develop the kind of careers that's going to help them be more successful in life because they were involved in the program. So again, I would like to thank everybody that contributed to helping us put this class together. A lot of people in the university community, a lot of people in the athletic department, a lot of people on our staff, our coaches, their coaches' wives, a lot of people are involved in this, and we really appreciate everyone's efforts.
Guys, we'll start right over here on the right with Aaron.
I was wondering if you thought you met the needs along your defensive line class, or would you have liked to? I know you probably always want more players. Would you have liked to have more players there?
Well, we'd always like to have more players, but you got numbers issues. We're restricted by numbers. There's serious penalties for going over in terms of what your numbers are. It's a very difficult management to manage. We do not necessarily determine when guys are going to make decisions. So you got to try to take the best players that you can get at every position and hope that you can satisfy your needs by the players that you get at those particular positions. You know, we're pleased with the 3 guys that we got, and I'd rather get quality players, and I think we got 3 quality players.
On the far side with Rayner.
What's the situation with kicker, 1, and number 2, did you have any reservations after Cowan, the way his career ended in Florida? Linebacker.
Yeah, we did a significant amount of investigating in terms of what his character issues might have been relative to his team. We interviewed a lot of people in the school. We interviewed his coaches. We spent a significant amount of time with him. We evaluated how he's improved academically to try to make the choice and decision as to whether he was someone that we wanted to have involved in our program. And I think a lot of the players in this class really liked him in terms of their relationship with him, and we're looking forward to helping him be successful here. The kicking situation, I cannot comment on anyone who actually didn't sign an NLI here today. So I think we have someone, as you well know, that has expressed interest in coming to Alabama. We have a couple guys in the program now who have ability to kick. So we will take all those guys when the fall comes and determine who gives us the best opportunity to be successful at that position.
Back up here front, Mark.
Just a few of your skill players. Najee Harris is one. What can he bring to the running back position, and also the 2 receivers you signed today in Ruggs and Smith? What type of players are they?
Well, you know, Najee is a very good all-around player. I mean, he's one of the best players in the country according to a lot of people's evaluation. He's got great size. He's got great speed. He's very fluid and smooth athletically. He's very complete. Has really good hands, good route runner. Has special production as a player. You know, we think that Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith are both very explosive guys. We've had them in camp for a couple of years. Very fast, very explosive. They played that way for their teams, and I think that whether they're punt returners, kickoff returners, wide receivers, running the ball some kind of way, these explosive type players are guys that we felt like we needed to add in this class, and we feel good about all 3 of these guys being those types of players.
Back on the inside with Michael.
I know we talk about rankings and ratings, but it is, you know, the headline in the news release you guys put out that this is the #1 class. How does that help the next class, those headlines? How does that build momentum in terms of just a reputation for recruiting around here?
Well, I think that we don't look at it like that, and I don't know how we're rated. I didn't know how many of these guys where they were rated, how many stars they had. I don't know anything about that. We kind of evaluate the players like we're going to draft them, and take the guys that meet the criteria, critical factors that we want in positions. I think to continue to do well in recruiting, I think you got to create the right atmosphere and environment to help players be successful in the program. You got to have good team chemistry and togetherness. You got to have good people in the program to attract good people. I think you got to do a great job of getting an early start in recruiting, which we try to do every year. I know I spent a significant amount of time on the phone today offering guys for next year, so that we can get a good start. So I think that hopefully these guys will be able to contribute to the success of the program and the way they represent the program and the job that they do academically and how they play on the field, so that we can continue to have success and that future players will recognize those successes and want to be a part of the program.
Over here in the middle with Alex.
I wanted to ask you about your offensive line. Obviously, you brought Leatherwood in prior, and just Ken Yedrick today. Just what do you think about filling the needs, especially on that offensive front?
Well, I really like the guys that we got. You know, we took a junior college guy at both line positions, which, you know, gives you a little older, more mature guys. But you know, the the guys that we recruited as freshmen have size and athleticism to play the position. Alex Leatherwood has a lot of potential, he's big. We've had him in camp, we've worked with him in the past. Jedrick Wills, that we thought was one of the best guys at his position in the entire country, at least in our evaluation. We like the potential of, you know, both other players that we have as offensive linemen, so we feel good about it. I mean, I think offensive line is a developmental position, so how these guys develop at that position, I think, is critical to how much they can contribute early on, and how good they can be long term. And I think both of those things are very, very important. You know, Randolph is a guy that has a lot of athleticism, great size, and I think you know, we're hoping that he'll develop into something special.
Back up front here with Kurt.
Coach, you've got 2 quarterbacks in the class. One's here, and I understand the other one's coming in time for spring practice. And I wanted to, A, what is the importance of having the 2 quarterbacks since you only have Jalen back on scholarship? And 2, what is this is a sort of a new development on bringing the guys in early, but not as early.
Well, we have an academic circumstance here that allows us to bring guys in. We have several players who will take advantage of that, that maybe didn't quite get everything done when they needed to be able to get here and start the term in January. And I think it's critical for us and really good for us that because of the quarterback situation that we have, having a freshman starter and having the other players, you know, leave the program thinking they wouldn't have a chance to compete in the future, that we got 2 young guys in here that we could develop in the spring. I think it's something that's very, very important to develop depth at that position.
Go in the back with Tom.
Urban Meyer said today he likes to try to shoot for around 50% of his class, ideally being from in-state. With that in mind, do you ever set a certain mark and just the importance you have on getting in-state recruits? I know we have 7 out of 26 in this class.
Well, we would like to recruit as many guys as we can from our state. I think every state's a little bit different in terms of numbers of players that they have and numbers of schools that they have that are recruiting those players. So, you know, Ohio State doesn't have another school in the state that's recruiting players relative to the Big Ten. We would like to get as many Alabama players as we possibly can. We've had some great players from the state of Alabama: Julio Jones, Mark Barron, C.J. Mosley, Fluker. I mean, we've had a lot of great ones, Reggie Ragland. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So we want to continue to try to get as many players from our state as we possibly can. It's very competitive in our state to get players, and we're going to continue to do the best that we can. We don't necessarily put a number on it. We just want to get the best players in our state and get every one of them that we can get.
Back up here with Ben.
You mentioned Ohio State not having any other Big Ten schools in the state. Louisiana doesn't have any other SEC schools, but you guys have done a pretty good job of getting players out of there. What has kind of worked well for you guys recruiting that area recently?
Well, you know, Louisiana has a lot of good programs. They have a lot of good players. I think at one time, one of the reasons that I was interested in going there when I was in the NFL, they did some survey on how many players per capita each state has relative to the NFL. And Louisiana was like 4th or something on the list of number of players. So I'm saying, well, there must be a lot of players in Louisiana. And I think there are. And I think we're fortunate. We have been fortunate to get a lot of players in the past who have had success here, whether it's Landon Collins, Eddie Lacy, Tim Williams. We've had a lot of players. Cam Robinson. We've got a few players on our team right now that make a significant contribution from Louisiana. So, and I think when players see other players maybe leave the state and have success, it's something that they see as a place where they might go and have success themselves. You know, one of the things I mentioned Landon Collins, but I was just flipping channels the other day. I wasn't even watching the Pro Bowl, but I just happened to hit the Pro Bowl when they were talking about Landon Collins and the 2 starting safeties for the NFC. I mean, that made me feel really good that here we got two guys that played together here that are now starting in the Pro Bowl there. They're not just starting for their team, they're starting in Pro Bowl.
Up front here, front row with the red shirt.
Hey Nick, obviously the defensive back, you mentioned, cornerbacks were sort of a bit of a miss in this class, but you signed guys who've played multiple spots in high school, and just like with the quarterbacks, all three, once that mini-mester is underway, will be on campus. Any flexibility with those three guys, McDonald, McKinney, Daniel Wright?
Well, there's flexibility with a lot of guys that are skill guys, and I think that, Cyrus Jones came here and played 1 year at receiver and ended up being a pretty good defensive back that got drafted in the second round. So I think this is a little bit of a universal problem. I know when I was calling around to get draft grades on Marlon and Ardarius and Cam, a lot of the general managers kept asking me questions about why aren't there more defensive players? Why aren't there more defensive skill players? It doesn't seem like there's as many defensive players for us to draft as there used to be. And I think, part of that goes back to style of play, that football has changed. When I played football, we played one receiver or two receivers. And when we put two receivers in the game, it was like we were in full load passing. This is when I was in high school. All right? So now, and when I started coaching, the most people put were two receivers. And I was at Michigan State as a defensive coordinator. We played Iowa. We tried to play nickel. They never even put three receivers ever in the game. Right? So now we are playing nickel over 80% of the time, because everybody on offense is playing 3 and 4 wide receivers, because the spread has had that kind of impact. The quarterback position has changed in terms of the dynamic of the kind of player who plays quarterback because of the spread. People are looking for athletic guys to run. So we're used to have two guys playing on offense in skill positions. Now you've got a quarterback, a running back, and 4 receivers. Well, 3 of those guys used to play defense. I'm talking about play defense coming up when they were in junior high, coming up in high school and all that. So there's more skilled guys on offense. Just like in the draft, probably the #1 position that has the greatest number of players to choose from is receiver. When we're out there recruiting, there's a lot of receivers that are out there to recruit. It's harder to find defensive players. Now, if I was a high school coach, I would put my best players on offense. Best athletes on my team, I would give them the ball and score points. I wouldn't play them on defense. I would play them where they could get the ball and score points. So sometimes you got to look at it like maybe this guy's not playing the position that he could play. All right, so maybe he'll end up playing something else like Cyrus Jones did here. And we may have to look at some guys on our team like that. But I can't say who right now until they get here. We would do anything like that with.
We'll wrap up here with John Zener.
Sorry to kind of go off topic here, but you've known Coach Belichick a long time and everything. I'm wondering what makes him, in your mind, what qualities make him so successful over such a sustained period of time, which is obviously hard to do.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me in this Super Bowl. Dan Quinn coached for me for 2 years at Miami as a defensive line coach, and Bill and I have been friends forever. We got a couple of players playing for Atlanta that are pretty significant contributors, and we got some guys playing for New England that are pretty significant contributors. We got guys on the practice squads, and I usually, in the NFL games, I just root for our guys. Well, it's kind of hard to figure out who our guys are in this one, but to answer your question, Bill Belichick is successful because he's very bright, probably the most organized person that I have ever been around when it comes to football knowledge and how to sort of go through a process of things, whether it's how you draft players, how you find players, how you bring players to the team, how you develop players, how you systematically put a sound system together on offense, defense, and special teams, the demands that he puts on the people that work for him to get the very best out of them and to get the very best out of the players. He probably does it as well as anybody, and I think his record shows that. I probably learned more in the 4 years that I was with him, maybe than at any other time in my career. And I thought I knew something when I was with him. You know, I'd been a coordinator in college. I'd been a head coach in college. I coached 2 years in the NFL when I hooked up with him. So I thought I knew something, and really found out that I was just in a position to really learn a lot. And that time in Cleveland probably helped me as much as any in developing the kind of philosophy and organizations that have helped us be successful through the years. And you can contribute a lot of it to Bill Belichick.
Thanks, Coach.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.